Hello! These video instructions were made to help you get started cutting foam with hot wire. This is a very helpful technique in shaping wings and also other components for your remote control aircraft. However, many people think that working with foam is too difficult and just simply not worth the effort. And admittedly, if done incorrectly, the results can be pretty poor, as you can see here. However, with these simple instructions and a little bit of practice, you can be cutting pieces in foam in no time. Working with foam also has its advantages, as it is cheap, easily shaped, widely available, and easily repaired if damaged. Before we get started, however, there are a few things that you will need to get together. First and foremost, of course, you will need foam, available at most hobby stores or hardware outlets. Next, you'll need 4 wing templates, 2 for the lower wing surface and 2 for the upper wing surface, and some nails to secure the templates in place. You'll need a hot wire bow and a power supply to heat the wire. Now that we have everything together, the first step is to draw our wing design onto our foam. You'll see in this video that I mostly use the edges of the foam as my guide. However, for more complicated designs, it becomes imperative to have a well-marked position where you can place each template. This is because each template will be removed in between cuts, so if there's no reference point, the second template may be misplaced, which can result in a severely misshapen wing, which is of course not what we want. So after you've drawn your design onto your foam, go ahead and line up the front and the back of the template to their respective marks on the foam. When everything has been properly positioned, simply press a nail through each of the holes on your template to secure the template in place. If your design calls for particularly thin or flimsy templates, hot glue can also be used to attach the template. This is convenient as the hot glue will just simply melt as the hot wire goes through it, so it doesn't interfere at all with the cut, which is nice. Okay, now that the templates are secured to the foam, it's time to get our hot wire ready for the cut. For this cut, I'll be using a 36-inch bow. Now the length of the wire is important, as you'll need a higher voltage to heat up a longer wire. Getting the right temperature for our wire is very important, as a wire that's too hot will be uncontrollable in the foam. So in order to heat up our wire to the right heat, we'll make a test cut on our foam in an inconspicuous spot. If the wire isn't hot enough to make it through the foam, as you see here, simply increment up the voltage ever so slightly until you're able to get a clean cut. Okay, now we're almost ready to make our cut. Secure the foam down to the table using just a little bit of weight. Here I'm using about 1.5 kilograms. You don't need to put very much weight on it, because the wire should ideally glide through the foam. You won't be pulling on it very hard at all. The important thing when cutting is to not stop. If you make a mistake, keep cutting through the foam. We can always make another pass and try to fix whatever mistake we've made, but we need to keep the momentum going. If at any point the wire stops in one part of the foam, it'll create a line in your wing that'll be difficult to get rid of. Also, another mistake people often make is to try to go too fast. Pulling on the wire will not make it go any faster. The speed of the cut depends on the temperature of the wire, not the pressure you put on it. Ideally, we want the wire to be a straight line as it moves through the foam in order to give us a really even, smooth cut. Okay, this cut is looking pretty good, so let's go ahead and look at it from a different view. Okay, seeing it from this angle will give us a little bit better idea of what's actually happening here. We want the wire to be doing all of the work, so we just want to get it right up on top of that template and then just let it slide along the top. Now, as this is a subtractive process, we're taking away material as we cut. If any mistakes are made on the upper wing surface, that's okay. If the wire comes away from the template, it's just more material that we can then take away if we just repeat the process and make the cut again. However, with the lower wing surface, any move away from the template results in material being removed from the wing, which is much harder to repair. Also, it is important to keep track of where the wire is on each template. You don't want to get ahead on one side and then have to catch up on the other, as again this will create lines and an uneven cut. For this purpose, I've put increments on my templates so that I can see when the wire is crossing each mark on each template to make sure that they're progressing through the foam at the same speed. Alright, now that the cut has been made, let's go ahead and see what progress we've made on our wing. Okay, it's starting to look like a wing. Now we can move on to the other half. When making the cut for the bottom half of the wing, be sure to place the templates in the exact same position you did with the upper half. Also, it's important to note that each template is a mirror image of its counterpart, so it is possible to get these backwards, and that's not something you want to do. After we've resecured our foam and resecured our templates, make the second cut just the exact same as the first. Now, as I said before, when cutting the lower wing, it's even more important that we take care with our cut and make sure that we follow the wing form exactly. If we make any mistakes here, then the wing is going to be difficult to repair. Okay, let's go ahead and see how our wing looks. That looks pretty good for a rough cut wing. Let's go ahead and do some finishing details on it. When you pull the wing out of the foam, it won't be completely finished yet. There will be excess material on the trailing and leading edges. So we can just take a sharp knife and run it along the trailing edge to cut that off. Be careful when you cut foam. It tends to bunch up when you try to cut it with a knife. So it's often a good idea to make short, swift strokes with a knife so that it doesn't notch out the foam. Also, one of the great things about foam is how easily it can be shaped with other materials like sandpaper. So you really only need the knife to remove large chunks of material, as you can see we're doing here on the leading edge. The rest of the finishing touches can be done by simply sanding it away. Let's go ahead and finish up our foam by just taking a piece of sandpaper, 100 or 150 grit should be fine, and just finishing up the shape on the wing. It shouldn't take a lot of work before you have a nice smooth finish on all your edges. There we go. And there we have it, our finished product. Your wing is now ready to be attached to whatever craft you're making it for. It can also be painted or skinned with fiberglass for extra strength. Okay, thanks for watching. Good luck and have fun.